Hello guys, welcome to GCE Masterclass with Madam Yvette. If this is your first time of seeing me, you're welcome. I'm Madam Yvette by name, your math tutor. Today, we are continuing with our math revision questions on the past GCE questions, okay? So, today we are solving Math Paper 2 GCE 2023 question 4. Okay? So the question goes like this. Given that figure 1 represents the height PR of a boy 1.8 meter and his shadow RQ 2.4 meter long on a flat horizontal ground. A. Find the distance PQ. B. Calculate the angle of elevation of the sun Q to the tip of the boy's head P, leaving your answer to the nearest degree. Okay, so this is the figure. This is figure 1. Okay, so this angle here is P and here is Q and here is R, okay? And this is the boy's height, 1.8 meters. And here is the shadow, which is 2.4 meters. Okay, when a question is given like this, most of the times the students becomes frightened because of the length of the notes or because of how it appears. But I want to assure you that you don't need to be scared, okay? You don't need to be afraid. This is mathematics. We just need simple formulas to solve it, okay? So let's solve together. Okay, before I continue, you are going to discover that when they give a figure like this, what we are going to use is Pythagoras theorem. Okay, let me explain before we go into the solving. We are going to use the Pythagoras theorem. Okay, for those that know, Pythagoras theorem is when they say this length, which is the longest length, PQ is the hypotenuse. Okay, hypotenuse, and here is adjacent, okay, and here is the opposite. Okay, for those that have done trigonometry, they are going to understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so we will continue solution. Okay, from our Pythagoras theorem will say hypotenuse, which is PQ squared, is equals to opposite, which is PR squared, plus adjacent, which is RQ squared. Okay, this is our Pythagoras theorem formula. Okay, so from the equation, it says you should find the distance PQ. Okay, PQ here, once you have cited the Pythagoras theorem formula, it's easier for you to solve PQ because this is PQ, okay? PQ here is the longest length, okay? So we say P arrow is what? P arrow is giving us 1.8 meters. So we say PQ squared equal to the P arrow, which is 1.8 meter. So we all squared. We squared it because the Pythagoras theorem has squared. Okay. Plus arrow here is what? The adjacent, which is the shadow of the boy, which is 2.4 meters. Okay. So from here you say PQ squared, here 1.8 meters squared will give us 3.24, okay? 3.24. If you use your calculator, it's going to give us 3.24, okay? And 2.4 meters is going to give us 5.6, okay? 5.6 meters, okay? Once we all squared the 2.4, okay? So when we add this 3.4 plus 5.7 is going to give us what? Please do check on your calculators, okay? So once we add 3.24 plus 5.76, it will give us 9 meters, okay? 9 meters, because we are dealing with meters, okay? It will give us 9 meters. But they say we should look for P cure, okay? They didn't say we should look for P cure squared. So to look for P cure, we are going to simply say P cure. To remove this P cure, we are going to rationalize it. So by rationalizing it, we are going to square the 9 meters, okay? So therefore, P cure will give us 3 meters, okay? Because 9 squared is 3, okay? So the angle, the distance P cure will be, which is the hypotenuse, will be 3 meters, okay? Because they say we should find the distance PQ. So the distance PQ will give us what? 3 meters, just as we have solved, okay? Following the Pythagoras theorem. Pythagoras theorem, this is the Pythagoras theorem formula, which is the hypotenuse squared equal to opposite all squared plus adjacent all squared. Then from there, you can now begin to substitute your values into the various angles, okay? Or into the various distance, okay? So this is how you solve your distance, because they say we should look for the distance P cube, okay? So we move to the next questions, which says calculate the angle of elevation of the sun here to the tip of the boy's head P, leaving your answer to the nearest degree, okay? So I'm going to wipe this one down, okay? I'm going to clean this because we don't have enough space, and we'll continue solving the B part, okay? Because the B part says we should look for the angle. The angle here is theta, okay? The angle here is theta, okay? And the angle of elevation, this theta here is the angle of elevation from Q to B, okay? Which is theta, okay? So, in the angle of elevation, we are going to say tan theta, okay? Tan theta here is opposite all on adjacent, okay? Opposite on adjacent. That is P arrow all on arrow cure. Okay. If you know about the cosine law, you will know that sine is what? Opposite all on hypotenuse, and cosine is adjacent all over hypotenuse, and tangent is what? Opposite all on adjacent. Okay. So from here, P arrow is what? P arrow is giving us 1.8, and arrow here is giving us 2.4. Okay. If you use your calculator, you will see that it's going to give us 0.75. Okay. If you use your calculator, 1.8 all on 2.4 is going to give us 0.75. Okay. Then, because they say we should look for the angle, this angle of elevation. Okay. So to look for the angle of elevation, we are going to say, because this is the angle of elevation, okay, which is theta. The angle of elevation here is theta. So using the inverse law, which is the inverse tangent, we are going to say theta all on arc tan, okay, all on arc tan bracket 0.75 because we are going to put this 0.75. For us to remove this tan theta, we are going to use the reverse, which is the inverse of tan. Okay, so we continue. The arctan here times 0.75 is going to give us 36 or 36.8 something here. Arctan is going to give us 36 point, I'm sure 86, okay, 86 degree, something like that. But they said leave your answer, leaving your answer to the nearest degree. So for us to leave our answers to the nearest degree, we are going to round up this, okay. So if we are going to round up this, it's going to give us 37 degree, okay. So this angle here is 37 degree, okay. So I hope you have followed, because they say B passes calculate the angle. This is the angle theta of elevation of the sun, okay, which is cure to the tip of the boy's head P, leaving your answer to the nearest degree, okay. So to calculate all of this, you start with tan theta, okay, which is the angle of elevation, equal to opposite all on adjacent. Opposite all on adjacent, this is opposite, which is 1.8, and adjacent, which is 2.4. And when you divide this, it's going to give us 0.75, okay. And from there, since we are looking for the angle, we are not looking for the tan theta, we are looking just for the angle. We are going to use the inverse tangent law, which will say theta equal to arctan times 0.75, okay. So once you multiply arctan times 0.75, is going to give us 36.86, maybe 869 or 867, okay. So once you round it up to the nearest figure, it will give us 37 degree, okay. So this is our final answer, okay. So if you have watched up to this, up to this stage, I just want to say thank you very much and see you in our next class. Bye.